Hey, I've got a thought experiment for you. It's one that I think of from time to time, and I'll share it with you in case it might be useful. The thought is this: imagine that you are one in a sequence of people who are climbing a ladder. And the ladder is structured such that mostly, the majority scenario, you need help to ascend. In other words, whoever the current person is on the ladder, they reach up and the person above them reaches down. It's a really beautiful image, and it's very much a part of my philosophy, not only as a technical trainer, but as a person. And I ask you to think about this with no judgment, labels, self-criticism. It's just really kind of a pulse check. Now you're on the ladder, okay? You're actually holding the hand of the person above you. I guess, how would you do that with being on a ladder? I guess we could put the logic of that off to the side temporarily. The question I want you to think about: don't overthink, just think. What is your first instinct when you look down and there's the next person below? What is your first instinct? Is it to reach down and help? Or is it to retract and maybe even kick down? That's why I said it can be a surprising result. For me, it was surprising in an opposite way, where somehow I had the false belief that I was a kick down kind of person, even though looking back over my life, all of the evidence, practically all of the evidence, countervailed that false belief. So I'm telling you, I'm going through some major transformations here. I am not kidding you. Because I am fortunately one who reaches down. I mean, clearly I'm a teacher, and now that I know it myself, that I am an empathic person. I'm grateful to have that. Now, what if you're the opposite? That is to say, your first thought is like, screw them. I'm getting up on the, because see this ladder, I used ladder intentionally because of its relation to the corporate ladder. And I also, especially watching the news or listening to the news every day, with politicians and other high-profile positions that, according to the research I've done, fairly extensive, there seems to be a pretty high incidence of sociopathy among particular positions of leadership. And upon investigation, a reason why, a possible explanation is if you're a sociopath, which means that you're missing the part of your brain that deals with empathy and thoughts of others. It's just not there. So in a sense, it's not even the person's fault that they act so callously and selfishly towards others. And so that notion of reaching up and kicking down, or another metaphor, is reaching up, pulling up with the help of others, and then try to pull the ladder up behind you. Now, if that's your bag, if that's where you went, I want to say, I mean, it's not for everybody, but and I falsely believed that I fit in that category for decades, and I really didn't. That's another story, how I got into those false beliefs anyway, but I know plenty of people who genuinely are like that. And, I'm going to give some pretty unorthodox advice. Because my bag is so deeply rooted in self-acceptance, I might challenge you that if you are honest enough with yourself to recognize, wow, I may have some sociopathy, to say lean into it might be a bit too much. But I mean, what else can you do but make lemonade out of lemons? That's not my expression, of course. And I'm coming from that, as I try to do exclusively from my own experience, and not just riffing about stuff I know nothing about. I know about this transcendence because I've encountered, as I've spoken about ad nauseum on my YouTube channel, my late autism diagnosis and how transformational that was. It's like, okay, well, I'm missing some parts of my empathy in ways, but I'm not lacking in empathy. I'm definitely not sociopathic. And I had that confirmed by more than one psychologist. That's what I mean when I say that I stubbornly held on to false beliefs so damn long in the face of countervailing evidence. And it wasn't until the last year when I finally met myself in a very elemental way, and I was able to see myself as a third party, of kind of an impartial observer. I'm not getting all supernatural. It has nothing to do with supernatural stuff at all. But as an impartial observer, I saw myself and I thought, wow, man, the things that people have been saying about you all your life, they really are true. So I was finally able to believe it. And it's been one of the top 3 unlocks of my entire life. I hope that this lesson is having a story and a structure and a through line. I feel like it does, but again, sometimes the self-criticism comes in. So again, let's say privately, I wouldn't ask you to tell me in the comments, that you realize that you do have that tendency maybe towards kick down. I guess you could ask yourself, again, first of all, kudos for being brave enough to be self-examinative in that, to that degree, because we're talking deep levels of self-honesty. It's about working around it. Like I said, with autism, I've got these deficits, but I know about the deficits, and that makes all the difference, because now if I blah, 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 like just last night, I'll give you a quick example. I was really sleepy, and I sent one of my friends a text message, and this morning I'm starting my work, and I call it an autism jolt. Oh, you better go back to that person. You know, why do I go back to that person to say, hey, what's up? Did I say something dumb last night? It's because I care. It's because I'm an empathic person. So anyway, know thyself. Who was that? Socrates? I'm going to frame this video under my professional brand, even though I'm talking about a lot of psychology stuff, because, I mean, how directly applicable is this? As I just said, that notion of you on the ladder will definitely inform your philosophy, thoughts, and most importantly, actions professionally going forward. And if you know that you're reaching up and you're reaching down consciously, you now have a much better, again, this is all from my experience, you have a much stronger capability to use and leverage that and build upon it, build upon the empathy. I mean, I did that kind of to an extreme by becoming a teacher. Think of people like nurses. And in fact, it's very interesting. I just realized this now. I often like to say that my favorite groups of people on earth include, healthcare professionals, but nurses in particular, and also teachers of any stripe, form, or fashion. Why? Because I feel so empathically connected to them, so to speak, but because they are almost bodhisattva-ish roles in terms of that latter approach of leaching. Another image that's just popping into my head apropos of something is Keith Haring, the late pop artist, the hands holding. I probably should get a print of that, actually. Okay, well, we're getting up to 10 minutes and I don't do filler, so let's call it there. I hope that you found this lesson grounded and not woo. Believe me, I'm not into the woo stuff in any way, shape, form, or measure. So I hope you found this lesson grounded, reasonable, and above all else, practical. All right, later. Thank you.